2025 is well underway now, with our first update even being here already with MEDIOCRE Sense, even though I'm recording this beforehand because I'm a good YouTuber that is prepared. But I just wanted to talk to you guys about what to expect from 2025, both from actual updates point of view, but also from my personal point of view and things that need to happen in RuneScape, as there are some things that kind of happened last year that I feel like need to be improved on, but I'm afraid will just be extended into this year as well. But we'll talk about that more in this video, and just a bit of a pullback of the curtain moment. I usually script out my videos, but I just wanted to sit down and talk to you guys. So if this sounds and is structured a little bit different to the videos you are used to from me, I'm sorry, but I kind of just wanted to go back to the original Chevalric type of video just for this one time and just yap to you guys about what's coming up in 2025. If you do enjoy it, leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're trying to get to 10k subscribers by the end of this year. And without further ado, let's talk about it. Before we get into everything you need to know, I just want to give you like a little bit of a perspective on who I am, in case this might be your first video or you just watch some Chevalric videos here and there. I'm an all-around player, a jack of all trades, a master of none type of player. I am nearly trimmed comp as of me making this video, meaning that I do pretty much everything in the game. I do PVM, endgame PVM, skilling, questing, clues, think about it, and I've probably done it. Obviously, there are certain things that I enjoy more than other things. Like, I really do enjoy PVM, and I absolutely love solving clue scrolls, but I really do just enjoy completing achievements. Like, literally, give me a list of things to do, and I will complete them. And that's mainly my playstyle, so I hope that that gives you a little bit of an idea of who I am when I talk about certain updates, and maybe that validates my opinion in a way. I don't know, I thought I'd mention it. Let's get into some of the first updates that we'll be seeing this year. And obviously, we just saw MEDIOCRE Sense, even though it's not out as me recording this. But we'll also be seeing 2 more desert quests. Honestly, I kind of want to start off with this as there's nothing much to say. Like, brother, they are quests. Like, they are probably going to be alright. I mean, the previous 2 quests with the Ode to the Devourer and whatever the other one was were decent. Like, I don't know, like, I'm not big of a lore head, but from what I've gathered, they were pretty interesting, and obviously it's leading up to the big Mascot boss fight, which will also be coming this year, and will be a new endgame level boss, and I'm happy to see that, because I feel like since Chevalric, we didn't really see any true endgame bosses. I mean, you could argue hard mode Sanctum of Rebirth, but even so, it's not really on par with like a Telos, a Chevalric, and even a Solak and AOD to an extent. So it's good. I'm excited to see. I'm wondering what they're going to be doing with the rewards, as let's be honest, last year with the Sanctum of Rebirth and the way the rewards were received in a way, because, well, the tier 95 dual wield magic weapons are very cheap because they're really common. And the Genesis shard that I've spoken about in my 2024 review video is a bit of a lazy design where it's just upgrading every tier 95 to tier 100 in one go, no aesthetic change, no new special effect, just better stats. And I hope they do a better job with the reward from a mascot. And on the topic of combat, we are finally getting combat achievements. If you played old school RuneScape, you might be familiar with this. In case you haven't, combat achievements are a very simple concept. They are achievements relating to combat. Like, how fast can you kill this boss? Kill this boss in a certain way. Make sure that, you know, you do all the mechanics properly, like a perfect kill. So, literally, you can't just face tank mechanics. You need to properly do them. And maybe even some, like, skipping mechanic stuff. I don't know if that is something they talked about. They did a live stream. I watched parts of it. I don't think they mentioned it. But in case it is, like, just kill the boss in specific ways. You get points for it. And then you get some cosmetic rewards that don't make you necessarily more powerful, but that give you some more quality of life things. Think about the Totem of Intimidation type of effects, where if you have the Totem of Intimidation, you don't have to get God Wars Dungeon 1 kill count. Stuff like that, in my opinion, is cool. I like it, I'm excited for it, and I really hope that I can do the Grandmaster eventually. Apparently, there's going to be like 4k Telos and Arc Laser on there, so not sure how viable that is, but at the same time, it would be cool to push something like that, because I would say I'm an okay PVMer, like very run-of-the-mill, mediocre, endgame type of PVMer. Like, I know what I'm doing, but I'm not amazing by any means. Like, you shouldn't come to me for advice, pretty much. Like, literally, the meme is that I'm Chef's office, aka that I'm in Dev's office a lot, which is true. One thing that I am pretty decent at is skilling, I suppose, because let's be honest, there's not really a way to be bad at skilling. And we will be seeing more 110 expansions this year, divination, runecrafting, and regular crafting. And quite honestly, and this goes for a lot of this year and kind of gets me into why I want to make this video as well, is I feel like they will set the tone for what this year will be, as last year was kind of the second half of last year, because let's be honest, the first half of last year we didn't have, like, we literally didn't have any content till May. Like, we had like 1 or 2 quests till May, and besides that we didn't have any major piece of content, which was disgusting. But we've spoken about that, that's in the past. But I feel like the 110 updates from last year, the woodcutting and fletching one and the mining and smithing one, were okay updates. I think they are run-of-the-mill, like, there are updates that you wouldn't call bad and that they're not a negative thing to the game. But I feel like they're also not updates that make you tell your friends that haven't played in a while that they should be playing RuneScape again. Like, dude, you can now get 110 woodcutting, dude, and you can make, like, all these things, and there's all these new trees, there's these areas, blah, blah, blah. No, there's, like, 1 new tree, bro. Like, 1. Which is cool, and the new woodcutting concept with you moving around the tree and stuff is cool, but it's nothing special. And the fletching stuff is alright. Like, it's cool, like, we got the masterwork bow, it's a nice little thing to make, but I also feel like at the time that you can make it, especially on an Ironman account, you probably already have better gear that you're using, so I don't really see its purpose. But that might just be me. That might just be me being past that level or before that on my group Ironman, so I might be missing something here. But I feel like the masterwork weapons, the same goes for the smithing one, don't really have a place in the game, really. Like, they're more of like a side upgrade than a main upgrade. I don't know. Like, I just don't really know about, like, I don't hear much about them, so that kind of gives me an idea that they're not really that relevant. But hey-oh, they're cool to be in the game, and runecrafting will give us a magic variant of it, so that's alright. And I think that just kind of summarizes my excitement for those 2 or 3 updates as well. It's like, they're going to be alright. The comp requirements will be fun. I mean, I did enjoy the mining and smithing one, but I don't know. I just feel like it just leaves something to be desired in a way. Like, I don't know. Like, at the same time, I also understand that they can't just add like 5 new trees and like 10 new mining. Well, they technically did add 10 new mining spots, but they just moved up the Demonheim ores. Like, I don't know. Like, I just don't really feel it. Like, I know they're not like full skill expansions, but at the same, I just don't know. Like, that's like literally my best way of describing it. It's just kind of like, like, I'm not mad that they're coming out, but it's also not something I'm like, oh, dude, I can't wait for the 110 update. It's just like, that's alright. You know what? Like, that's cool. Like, that is really, really cool that they're coming out. And it's kind of the issue with them as well, if that makes sense. But I can yap about that for an hour. Let's move on to the next one, because this one is a bit more of a, I would say, controversial one, because this is one that I'm really worried about. And it's something that I feel like has been kind of forgotten, especially with the new area expansion that's coming later this year, combat achievements and the 110 updates and everything else. There's also going to be a skilling rebalance. And that to me is a bit of a scary one, because if I'm going to be honest, and that leads us into the MTX discussion later as well, skilling in RuneScape is a bit of a strange one. Like, I feel like they want, or at least that's what they said on the video live stream they did, revealing everything for the first half of 2025. And obviously, we're going to get the RuneFest reveals as well at some point, which will be a next video. I'm going, by the way, so if you're going, let me know in the comment section down below. I'm actually curious, and I'm really, really excited to meet some of you guys. But I don't want to get off track. The skilling rebalance. They pretty much want to make skilling a more viable moneymaker. We've heard that before, didn't we? Anyone remember Stone Spirit? I mean, Wood Spirits to an extent, I guess. The herblore / farming rework, where all the herbs were removed from bosses, and now herbs are worthless, and iron seeds are one of the most rare commodity in the game. Yeah, I don't know why that is. Like, literally, like, if you don't know what I'm talking about, look up iron seed on the wiki and see the drop sources. It's ridiculous. Like, irids are a very mid-game type of herb, and they're just, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it's just a whole mess. But yeah, they want to just rebalance skilling to an extent where it becomes more profitable. Where I think that is not the issue with skilling. I feel like the issue with skilling, in my personal point of view, is that AFK skilling is just way too powerful. Like, the fact that in most scenarios of skilling, the AFK method is either just a little bit worse than the active skilling method, meaning active actually that you need to interact with the game and not that you can just look away for like 50 seconds to like 2 minutes or whatever, is an issue in my opinion. Like, playing the game should always be the best way to play the game and not just having the game up in the background. I don't think that having the game up in the background and that being an okay skilling method is a bad thing. Like, I think that is literally the core of RuneScape, right? But it should by no means be the best method. It should probably be, in my opinion, roughly like 70% of the best method, and then 100% is the best method. So, for example, outrageous rates here, but if the best method is a 1 million experience an hour, 700k experience an hour should be the AFK one, or even 600k to an extent. You get the point, right? So it actually encourages you to do the active method. And I think that is something they need to focus on, but I'm afraid they won't be focusing on it, and they probably will just be making some things more tedious again, like, I don't know, like gem rock mining will be the best way to get gems or something, making gems skyrocket and trying to add value to mining. I don't know, like, I just don't know what they're going to be doing with this, and I hope that it's more of a holistic view on skilling rebalance, like also looking at AFK and active skilling and fun skilling methods, because there are active methods, like for example whirligig hunting, which is technically the best training method for hunter, but at the same time it's also an RSI or carpal tunnel or whatever you want to call it simulator, because it's literally you just clicking on whirligigs, dude. Like, that is not good content, like, at all. So yeah, it's something that I really hope they'll look at it in a bigger picture, but I'm afraid it will just be, hey, can we make it more profitable? Oh, yay. And then we're gonna have the same issues as we did with the herbs, with the seeds, and with the stone spirits. At least that's what I'm afraid of. And that is another thing that I'm afraid of as well, is the kind of conversation that ties into this, before we get into something more exciting with the area expansion, is the MTX conversation will be heating up this year. If you didn't know what's going on, or you don't know what's going on last year, or you didn't follow what was going on last year, is what I was trying to say, is last year we had a survey asking if we want MTX removed, well, treasure hunter mainly, and how we feel about moving to a different business model, yada yada yada. There's been discussions about it. Like, if you've been around the community, it's very hard to miss, and I feel like this year it will be heating up even more, because the longer it takes for Jagex to do some sort of follow-up to this discussion, whether it's another survey or another post or a video or a live stream or whatever they might do, the more rowdy the community that is really against it is going to get. I mean, there's already been videos, and rightfully so, by the way. Like, I'm not saying that we shouldn't call out Jagex, because they've been awfully quiet, but it's such a complex discussion that it's, I don't know, man. Like, I at this point, I just don't want to talk about it anymore, because I am someone who likes to look at things from different perspectives. Like, let me make it clear before people start being mad at me again, because that's usually what happens when I bring this up. I don't want gambling, aka Treasure Hunter, to be in our game. My idealistic point of view of this game is we have the same system as old school RuneScape. We have bonds, we have membership, and that's it. Obviously, I understand that that's not viable, especially not with how the companies build up, etc. So I would be okay with just buying straight up cosmetics, or like everything you usually see, like the Azure Dragon Breath override or something on the Treasure Hunter store, or gambling, whatever, that you can just buy that straight up for like $10 or something. Like, I'm okay with that, but the whole discussion will just fire up this year. And if they're actually going to be disabling MTX, or in this case Treasure Hunter, which is a better term for it, but MTX obviously sounds better, is that it's going to get worse. Like, MTX, or Treasure Hunter in this case, will just get worse and worse. They probably repeat some of the most popular Treasure Hunter promotions across the years to try and get people to buy into it as much as possible before they possibly eventually remove it. And I still think that the reason why they will remove it is because there will be some European law that requires them to remove it, and that they're just kind of getting ahead with this and making it look like they want to, but in reality it would be European law. But regardless, that is just good marketing and PR, so I give them credit for that if that is actually the case. But yet again, that's just me speculating, and it's a conspiracy theory in a way. And lastly, area expansion. We are going to get an area expansion to RuneScape, and we don't know jack about it. I'm assuming that RuneFest will be the time where we will be shown things and there will be information about it, etc, etc. But overall, I am worried in a sense about this, because I feel like Varlamore in old school RuneScape, especially part 1, set a standard. Because Zeya in old school RuneScape was alright, and I mean Anachronia RuneScape 3 was alright too, but Varlamore Part 1 was incredible. It had an endgame piece of PVM content, it had Barrows 2 in the Perilous Moons one, it had some new interesting skilling methods, it had hunter contracts, it had new ways to go about like old activities. It was really, really good, and it came out with like 4 or 5 quests as well. Like, it was everything you pretty much expect from an area expansion, and I feel like if RuneScape 3 doesn't do something similar, where there's like a few quests, there's a few new skilling methods, an actual new best in slot skilling method, or some even like multiple, and you know, some pieces of interesting PVM content, I feel like it will just be going down as another disappointment or another mediocre update from the RuneScape team. And I feel like for this area to really succeed, we need to have an interesting, long-lasting piece of content that is either a bossing encounter or like skilling methods that are, you know, filling in a mid-game gap, but also maybe an end-game gap, where there's something to do for most players, right? Because, no, unlike everyone's popular belief, not everyone is max. Like, the majority of players are like mid-game players, right? So there needs to be a lot of good mid-game content, mid to late game, possibly, filling in some gaps that are missing. Like, there's some gaps with agility. Like, literally the best way to train agility from like 52 till like 70 or something is the wilderness course. Like, fill in that gap, man. Like, it's important to do that, in my opinion. Or the fact that you can do parts of the Anachronia course, because that is the best thing. It just feels very clunky, in my opinion. And the same goes with like drop tables and skilling methods, etc, etc. There's so much to do that I feel like this area expansion could be a great way to fill in a lot of those gaps. Same with some quests, just add in a whole new lore quest line thing that people can jump into that are coming back, but that still kind of tie into like old lore, for example. There's so much to do, and then maybe even make it so you can build on top of it into the future, like they're doing with Varlamore, or you get Varlamore Part 2, Varlamore Part 3 and stuff. And I think that is a very important thing for RuneScape 3 to get right, because I feel like not getting this one right will cause a lot of drama in the community, and I feel like Jagex isn't necessarily on thin ice as it is right now, but I do feel like they need a big W. Like, I feel like everything we get now is just alright. Like, it's mediocre to good, like in between, like a 6.5 out of 10 or 7, whatever you want to call it. Like, it's alright, but it's nothing that makes you tell your friends that haven't played in a while, like, dude, RuneScape 3 just released this update and you gotta check it out. Like, they are not that type of update. So I feel like RuneScape needs that W, and I really hope that the new area expansion will be that W that makes you tell your friends that haven't played RuneScape 3 in a while, like, dude, you really gotta log in. Like, this is something you gotta play, because it has a sick boss encounter, it has some interesting quests, it has some really cool skilling methods, and some really nice rewards overall. But we'll have to wait and see. I guess we'll get to know more on RuneFest, and what you can expect from me, besides me being at RuneFest, is there will be a trimmed CompletionScape series. It's nearly finished. I think I'm like a month away from finishing it. The series will be finished when I upload it, by the way, so there could be a chance that there will be like extra stuff coming out after I'm uploading it. I'll figure that one out when it comes, but it's pretty much will be finished, because I just wanted to do that. And on top of that, we will also be doing trimmed CompletionScape guides, but also low to mid-level guides. So if there's anything you want to see, like guide-wise or video-wise, let me know, because I'm really looking for ideas. Like, I have plenty of ideas, but if there's specific things you guys really are missing on the platform, let me know, because I want to improve the entire category and also my own back catalog and update videos and everything else that I've been making. So if you enjoyed that, subscribe, leave a like on this video. It's been a 20-minute ramble about 2025. I hope it was enjoyable. I don't know how I barely stuttered without a script for 20 minutes, but I'm impressed with myself. So leave a like if you are too. Comment, subscribe, check out the video on screen. My name is Chevalric, and I'll see you guys in my next video.